Hi, I'm Femi Okay.
And I'm Malika Bilal.
Now today we're going to be talking to Australian journalist Stan Grant about his speech on racism that went viral.
And later, a corruption investigation has shaken the sport of tennis. Our community has questions, so stay tuned.
But first, here's a clip from Stan Grant's speech, which was released for Australia Day, observed on January 26th. Have a listen.
The Australian dream. The Australian dream is rooted in racism. It is the very foundation of the dream. It is there at the birth of the nation. It is there in terra nullius, an empty land, a land for the taking.
So Stan Grant joins us now from Sydney, Australia. Stan, it's good to have you here, Mr. Viral. We're going to get right into our community straight away. Malika, what do you have for us, Stan?
Well, Stan's speech started with an event that made waves in Australian sport in 2015.
Sure.
And that was with the booing of a footballer, Australian footballer and Aboriginal, Adam Goodes. You see him on my screen here. Now that moved our community. So I want to read a tweet we got, Stan. This is from Herbie, who says, I was deeply offended at the treatment of Adam Goodes. As Stan said, he heard a howl of humiliation, dispossession, and injustice. Stan, how do you connect what happened to Adam with what's happening on a greater level in Australia?
I think the Adam Goodes story, because this was sport, because this is so sacred almost to Australians, we love our sport, and suddenly there was an issue of racism front and centre. And I think it really served as a catalyst for a much broader conversation. The speech that I gave was part of a debate that arose out of the Adam Goodes affair, which asked the question, is racism destroying the Australian dream? It was part of a debate filmed for the Intelligence Squared debate series. I raised the point that racism is at the birth of the nation. How can it not be when a people are dispossessed of their land and their legal rights to land not acknowledged? And I think given the fact that that was then released on the eve of Australia Day, it created a much broader discussion. And I was heartened actually that through all of this, we are seeing the maturation, the growth of a country, that people are coming to this with open hearts and opening their ears and their eyes to this and being prepared to ask hard questions of what is, I have to say, and I've said this time and time again, what is a remarkable country. What Australia has achieved in a little over 200 years is the envy of much of the world, and we can do better when it comes to race relations.
I want to show our audience, Stan, where they can actually listen to this speech. It's 8 minutes, but it's 8 minutes well worth your time. I'm going to scoot down here on Facebook. There's so many places you can see this speech in its entirety and also segments as well. This part of Facebook right here has got over 1 million views. And as you were doing that speech, were you thinking about the mass audience out there? What was going through your head? You weren't even reading it. It was coming straight from where? The heart?
It was just coming from our lived experience. It was coming from the stories I've been raised on by my parents and my grandparents. It was coming from a deep immersion into our history and the forces that have shaped this country. It came very naturally because we have lived with this. This is what makes us who we are. Sure. I think also, Femi, my years reporting overseas as a correspondent showed me that the struggle of Indigenous people sits more broadly within the struggle of people worldwide who have lived with the forces and the weight of history. So I wasn't considering much beyond that. It was as part of a debate. And the fact the speech has been lifted out of the debate, I suppose, has removed it from that narrow context. And people have then come to that. And I just hope that others bring what they want to bring to it. I don't suggest I have all the answers. There is so much more to this conversation. I just hope it serves as some sort of a catalyst.
So if you want to tune into Stan's speech, all you have to do actually on a search engine is put Stan Grant, and then actually the Google engine says speech. It's like, yes, it's that viral that it comes up by itself. When people click on it, Stan, what do you want them to think and feel and to know as they share it?
I want them to take away this, and that is that from the very beginning of Australian settlement, our humanity was denied. Indigenous people were seen, and you can read it in the speeches and the accounts of the time. We were seen as subhuman. We were seen as primitive and brutish and our rights were not recognised in this country. And there is an overhang from that. The seeds of the malaise today, where Indigenous people statistically die 10 years younger than the rest of the population, are locked up in appalling numbers in our prisons and detention centres. The seeds of that were sown then. But I also want people to take away this, and this was an absolutely fundamental part of this speech, and I don't want it to be misunderstood or misinterpreted. This is a phenomenal country. And Australians have shown time and time again that they are prepared to walk with Indigenous people, stand up for the rights of Indigenous people, and support Indigenous people. That equality lies at the heart of this country. It is what makes it what it is. We can do better than we are right now. That is one of the fundamental messages.
Stan Grant, thank you very much for joining us on the stream today.
It's a pleasure.
Take care.
You.